very much. Now it's time for our session entitled Risk Appetite Greater Than the Industrial Revolution. This conversation will discuss challenging established tech giants with novel AI-driven approaches, the convergence of hardware and software in creating seamless AI experiences, anticipating and adapting to shifting consumer expectations in the AI era, and building strategic partnerships to accelerate innovation and market penetration. Please join me in welcoming Jesse Liu, founder and CEO of Rabbit AI, and Gregg Pearce, head of SoHo and SME at Do, and our moderator, Mike Butcher, editor-at-large at TechCrunch. Welcome.
Hello everybody, it's Mike Butcher, your friendly neighborhood panel host. Mike Butcher from TechCrunch, and we're going to do a quick fireside with a double-headed fireside with two brilliant people who are working on AI solutions, very different areas. I'm joined by Jesse Liu, who is founder and CEO of Rabbit AI over on the end there, and Gregg Pearce, who's head of SoHo and SME for Do, and I was just asking Gregg what that actually meant. And it's basically small businesses interfacing with Do. And what we're going to talk about here is how, in particular, how AI is going to be used by both consumers and businesses in an agent setting, because obviously Rabbit. Now, for those of you who don't understand Rabbit was a device that was launched earlier. Was it this year or last year?
It was actually this year. So yeah. I have my Rabbit
this
over
year,
here.
And it really took the world by storm because we've not seen someone do a small device like this. Maybe just hold it up there so people can see the cameras. A device which is very based around the idea of AI agents. Jesse, perhaps you want to just unpack a little bit for us, for the audience who are not familiar with the Rabbit.
Yeah, so we're from Los Angeles, United States. So we launched this little device, Rabbit R1, back in the CES. We started shipping around April, and we shipped more than 10,000 units. 100,000 units actually. 100,000 units over the past 4 months. And Rabbit R1 is basically a dedicated AI device. It was not meant to replace your smartphone, but it was more of running the best models all in one based on natural language, as well as our proprietary technology called LAM, which is an agent system that we actually just rolled out. I think, Mike, you saw the news. We rolled out the LAM Playground on October 1st.
So we'll talk about that in a sec. But yeah. But that, what was the initial reaction was a little bit interesting, wasn't it? Let's get to that in a sec. Gregg, I wanted to introduce you as well, obviously. With Do, what's Do's strategy for with AI, especially regarding SMEs and small businesses?
We believe that the telco's role in the value chain is very much to provide a platform for small businesses.
Hold it a bit closer.
Oh, sorry. To provide a platform for small businesses that will allow them to use AI to make their business more sustainable. As a telco, we are trying to bundle AI into our products and services that will then provide the small businesses the opportunity to have one partner, have one platform, and proliferate the use of AI to make small businesses more sustainable. In terms of building our own AI, no, we're never going to do that because there are more experts globally than we care to imagine. So our role is very much to provide that ecosystem, that core platform, and that ability for small businesses to absorb along with other products and services.
Right, okay. I'd like to unpack that a little bit more in a minute. But going back to Rabbit, now you released a platform called LAM, large language. What was it again?
Large action model.
Action model. Sorry. The idea now. This reminds me a little bit. You know how when you have an Alexa, you say, "Hi Alexa, order me an Uber," or hi Alexa, add something to my calendar. It reminds me a little bit of that, but on device on the Rabbit, where you say to the Rabbit, add something to my Walmart shopping list or something. Tell us a little bit more about those large action model and how users interact with it.
So basically, there are two steps for us to building something like a Jarvis, like a sci-fi in the movie, right? So there's the intention part, there's action part. And my previous startup, Raven Tech, when I was started, there's no transformer, there's no GPU training. So all the Alexa genre was basically working with what we called back then large NLP or NLU, which is natural language processing or natural language understanding. And that was before GPT, that was before transformer. And right after the transformer, we believe the intention has been solved, right? So all the language models fundamentally understand and predicts the next token of whatever you talk to the computer in a natural language way. So now the computer understands what you're trying to say. A very logical next step is to have the computer do the things. So I think before people are looking at APIs or different route, that's a whole generation of smart speaker. But now we have something like what we call agent system, where the AI is not only be able to reasoning about the tasks, but actually execute to a certain layer so that most of those tasks are become general and automatic. So I think the key take here is the LAM is the first consumer general agent technology, where that means there's no pre-training. We're not building case by case. We don't have 5,000 engineers with 30 different groups building 30 different apps. The whole system just works based on any prompt. So in fact, today you can just tell the Rabbit R1, be like, hey, go to New York time and play Wordle. It will actually go there and play it for you. Or you can chain the different reactions or actions. For example, like, hey, go to Reddit and search for people's recommendation of this year's best TV. Get that model, then go to Best Buy, check if it's in stock. If it is, add to my shopping cart and purchase it. So that's a whole different generation shift.
I understand that's quite exciting, but what's to stop me opening a smartphone app and just say go to Reddit and or go to Word or on a smartphone app? And why would I use a single-use device in the way that you have one?
Yeah, so that's actually a great question. So we believe that the current generation of interface, i.e. all kinds of operating systems, are really not designed for learning and understanding what you're trying to accomplish. The whole operating system interface, regardless of what app you're working with, is really just the app presenting all the options with buttons and icons and waiting for you to execute, right? So the system, in a sense, doesn't really know what you're trying to do. Instead, it's just presenting all the options, waiting for your input. The agent technology, however, eliminates all that layer. And another take is that for human, we have some simple tasks, be like, hey, let's get together for dinner, Mike, tonight. And simple tasks like this, we can't just finish the whole thing in one app. We probably start with iMessenger, then go to OpenTable, and go to Uber, go to Maps. So it's a chain of different destinations. So what we're trying to build here is really trying to eliminate the whole layer. And in fact, with new Apple Intelligence on new iPhone or the Gemini, it's still somewhere in the intention layer. It's not fully active to the action part. So that's quite different.
I see, yeah. But I mean, consumers are getting their heads around using AI in a sort of chat model, a chat bot model, as with ChatGPT and other AI systems. Businesses are also using chat models, aren't they? But Gregg, in your research in dealing with small businesses, what's their approach? Are they looking for an AI agent solution in the same way that Rabbit is being pitched, or are they looking for more specific task-based ideas?
I think it depends on the business that we're working with. So we see a couple of different types. So we're looking. Some small businesses are looking for a very specific app, a very specific model that allows them to solve a problem within their business. The majority of small businesses, and the reason that we enjoy working with them, is that their ability to be agile and flexible to a solution that helps them accelerate their growth. And it might be that they need a specific product, or it might be that they need a Rabbit AI that helps them be more generalist. But what we find is that their ability to be agile and flexible means that their adoption of AI can be option A to solve problem A, or option B to solve problem B. And the scalability of their business is the main thing that they put at the center of their growth. So when it comes to small business and why we believe that their adoption of AI will accelerate the overall market, is that they're not bound by any particular governance, any particular model, or even, maybe in some cases, any particular board. These are very often entrepreneurs and startup businesses where the owner-manager is taking the lead. So it's the end goal of growth and sustainability that often governs the choice that they make between option A or option B.
But as principally a telco, telecoms provider, what's the feedback you're getting from the market about the use of AI, either in consumer devices or solutions aimed at businesses? Are they bewildered? Do they not know where to begin? What's your research say so far?
I think somewhere in between the former and the latter. So in the UAE particularly, the hype cycle around AI has been huge over the last 6 to 12 months. And it's not that AI has all of a sudden arrived in the UAE in the last 6 to 12 months, but I think small businesses are confused on finding a use case that can make their business accelerate. Once that small business then starts to understand, and I'll give you some really clear examples. Working with a very small business based out of Sharjah called Deductive. Deductive is a tool that allows you to consolidate different learning styles. It's been used in a number of small businesses to help share knowledge, because it often disaggregates learning into ways in which the three of us may learn completely differently. As soon as that's presented to a business, then they can understand how that can solve a problem they have. So there is a race at the moment for small businesses, both creating AI solutions and adopting AI solutions. And the faster that the AI solutions can be brought to market by entrepreneurs and small businesses, which is where we feel we play a role, the faster that they can gain share and make the adoption clearer for small businesses who they are working with and alongside.
Right. I think, switching gears slightly, Jesse, I think the interesting thing about the Rabbit is that a lot of parents have looked at the Rabbit and gone, maybe this is a solution to get my kids off a smartphone addiction. There's been a huge debate over the last, I would say, roughly the last year about addiction to social media platforms like TikTok and Instagram, etc., what that is doing for children's mental health. And in fact, in the United States, there's even lawsuits being pitched by some states against social media platforms because states are picking up the mental health bill a lot for teenagers who are becoming just way too over addicted. It's affecting their schoolwork, it's affecting their relationships. In some cases, we've had some really tragic incidences of teenage suicide associated with social media platforms. And I dare say parents are looking at devices and go like, you know what, I'm going to give my kid a flip phone, an old-fashioned feature phone that's got no apps. They can text me when they need it, and that's it, mate. And even some of the very small, very almost like dumb phones, they just got WhatsApp or a text and a Google Map, and that's it, because they need to get home or something. And do you think that you're pushing into that, leaning into that interesting trend where parents are going, you know what, I don't want my kids to miss out on using AI and using that, but I just don't want them to be addicted in the same way?
I mean, statistically, I think, especially in the US, if you have a kid, like there could be like a good 10 years that your kid is considered too old not to get connected, but too young for parents to consider for their first smartphone. Obviously, addiction on social media is a huge problem. I think when we were trying to design a Rabbit, we didn't quite put into a specific demographics, because I know, everyone has different use cases on tools like this, because it's very open. But again, the data shows that we have a huge portion of teenagers, either they purchased them by themselves or their parents bought one and then bought another rabbit for them. And from the use cases that we can see, is quite matching what we intentionally want to design this thing. It's basically, it's intuitive in the sense that you just push this button and talk. It's like a walkie-talkie, isn't it? So when we was working with Teenage for the design of this product, we were like, okay, let's build a walkie-talkie plus Pokédex in real life. So if you remember the Pokemon, they have the Pokédex to point out the Pokemon and ask questions about it. And that's exactly how the teenagers are using Rabbit R1s. We got letter.
And I noticed that Pokemon just released a new version of their device, didn't they?
Exactly. So we're getting letters from the parents sending to us, be like, hey, thanks to Rabbit, because this thing answers a million questions that my daughter asking me every day, and it answers better than me.
Okay, we've only got a couple minutes left. Let's just project into the future. If we're having this conversation in a year's time, maybe a year's a little bit too soon. Maybe let's go for 2 years, because obviously AIs and these kinds of devices and these solutions for businesses are only just appearing in the last, say, 6 months to a year. So let's push out to next year, maybe 2 years' time. What will we be talking about then? Will all of our problems be solved? We'll be worshipping at the feet of AGI? Gregg?
As a father of two teenage girls, the one thing that I have seen is their adoption of technology is far beyond the pace of anything that I could imagine as a 40-something-year-old. So I think in 2 years' time, what we will definitely be seeing is a faster adoption curve. I think the rate at which AI is being introduced into our day-to-day lives is currently accelerating faster than we probably realise. So my best guess would be that in 2 years' time, we're going to continue to see the proliferation of new and exciting AI, but we actually won't see it. It'll be so embedded in our day-to-day lives that we might not even know it's
going to become invisible. Jesse?
I firmly believe that the traditional definition of AGI should be arriving within 5 years' time. And in 2 years' time, my bet is on agent. I think everyone's going to talk about agent because the idea is that the whole way that human interact with all sorts of machines and interfaces is going to be drastically revolutionized by this new kind of like reasoning plus action models.
Well, certainly I'm looking forward to the future where I land in Dubai airport at 3 o'clock in the morning and just say to my phone, I need an Uber, here's the hotel, take me there, switch off all the lights, send a Diet Coke to my room, good night, boom, put the phone down, done.
That's probably not going to be next 2 years. That's going to be end of this year with Rabbit. Yeah.
This year with Rabbit, very good advert to end on. Gregg?
No, I was going to say thank you, Mike. Thank you for taking the time to look after us.
My pleasure.
Today.
It's been a delight. Thanks very much for our panel, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
See you later.